Welcome back to Crypto Spaces, back with another Monad update for you guys. Monad on a dip, man. I remember someone in my comment section said we may retest, 1 cent to 2 cent for Monad, and you are right, man. If you're seeing this video, just know, man, you are right. We actually retested back down to 2 cent for Monad. Now, what do I think? I think now is a great time to DCA. I've been saying this for all the videos. Any entry under the ICO price for Monad is a great buy. I think this is going to perform well for 2026. I still think that is the case. And if you're going to get into Monad, now is the best time to do so. One of the best times, right? Obviously, like I said, dollar cost average. Dollar cost average means like if you have $2,000 that you want to invest in Monad here, maybe, today you buy like $200 to $300. Next 2 to 3 days, you buy another $200 to $300. And then you keep doing that until you spent your $2,000 that you wanted to invest, right? I think 100,000 Monad is the best way to go. Right now, it's extremely cheap for 100,000 Monad. $2,100 gets you 100,000 Monad. That is insane. That is an insane steal of a price. Came all the way back down to when we actually first, almost when we first started to talk about it on the channel at 185 cent, man. This is crypto. This is why I said, guys, it's not going to be easy, man. The market is, I don't know, how do I explain this, man? I'm not sure there's any way for me to explain it, but this asset class is one of the most difficult asset classes there is. But when it gets to, even slightly better or slightly easier, it's one of the best asset classes, right? So one moment in time, it'll be just completely dreadful. You want nothing to do with crypto. That is the time you get exposure to the market, in my opinion, because when it's fantastic, it really does get like exceptionally well, right? When crypto really, gets good, it's really good, right? And I've experienced that, right? Because I'm always like looking at different chains. I'm always researching things, and that's why 2024 was good for me and a bunch of other people, this market cycle, right? So I'm hoping 2026 is going to be great as well too. Obviously, hope is not a strategy. That is not guaranteed. You see how Bitcoin only pulled back from 95K to 92,000, and then the entire market fell off its legs, right? That is not good, man. But this is the risk we have to take, in my opinion. You have to position yourself before the massive moves, right? And nobody wants to get positioned now. So in my opinion, now is a good time to get some exposure. Some exposure is better than no exposure, right? You don't have to invest your whole portfolio into the market now. You could keep 50% in cash, 70% in cash, and 30% exposure to the market, right? Just to be on the safe side, right? That is also something you can do, right? So like I said, I think 50,000 to 100,000 Monad is a great bet. Right now, 50,000 Monad is only $1,000, right? 1,100, which is, we're in the extra cheap territories. So right here on X, you see Wara here saying, today I bought Mon for the first time. And, rightfully so, because it's in a great spot to do so, right? Monad Insights, Mon is headed for the top 10. It's not a question of it's not a question of if, it's when, right? And I truly believe that's the case as well too. I think Mon could definitely flip a chain link, right? 10,000 transactions per second. I saw one of the Solana Foundation devs boasting about Solana pulling off 10,000 transactions per second recently, right? So Monad does that, but it's also EVM as well too, which gives it that scalability and decentralization factor as well for scaling stablecoin adoption, right? That's what you want for stablecoin adoption. So Divergent here is a little bit more bearish. Still thinks we retest this 1.7 cent low, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, right? I would not be opposed to retesting 1.7 cent for a double bottom. I don't think that would be impossible to think about, right? So Divergent saying we're halfway there, and all the invalidation indicators and the monthly limit were given in advance. So he's looking for a retest of that 1.7 cent low, and that is entirely possible for Monad, right? But we'll see what happens, right? Obviously, no TA is truly guaranteed. you might be greedy for like a bottom at 1.7 cent or lower, and then Monad starts to move up before they even could get to that entry that you're looking for, right? Still in a great spot in my opinion for Monad. Again, it's just following what the rest of the market has done this past few days. So as always, none of this is financial advice, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share the videos. Truly appreciate all the support. I'll catch you in the next one.